Hey, 7th graders, today's assignment is the Mars Soil Lab. So obviously, if you were watching this video, you not only figured out how to open the link correctly, but you guys are also at home doing this assignment. And even though it is a lab, I have still done some little videos for you guys to make it possible for you guys to do this at home on your own time so you can stay caught up. Okay, this lab has 3 parts, and in those 3 parts, you're going to learn a couple things. So first thing, I can conduct experiments to collect observations and data to answer a question. You guys are going to be doing this a lot throughout the year. Okay, and I can determine criteria as to what makes an object living or non-living. So this is really going to start us into our unit of whether something's living or non-living, and how do we classify living organisms as we are studying life science in 7th grade. Okay, so part 1 is examining Mars soil. You will be given 3 samples of soil from Mars. So obviously you at home won't actually have the soil. You guys will just see the videos. Okay, your goal as scientists is to make observations of these 3 samples to determine whether or not living things exist in the soil samples on Mars. So you guys will have 3 samples, sample A, B, and C, and you guys will test all 3 of them. So you guys will take a look at what they look like before you test them, as you test them, and then 10 minutes after you test them. And you guys will do observations on those and use those observations to kind of tell me, all right, I think there is or is not living organisms in each of these samples A, B, and C. So before, make observations of your soil sample, describe what it looks like and how it compares to the other samples. So how, if I were to read your guys' observations, can I differentiate or tell the difference between samples A, B, and C based on your observations? Use good detail. This is your before observation, okay? And then what you guys will do is the during. So you guys are going to add 2 pipettes, so that's 2 little bulbs of water, to your water sample, and immediately record your observations. So right after you add the water, you'll see that we're going to kind of swizzle it up and take a look at it. That's going to be what we call your during. So immediately after you add the water, what happened? What does your soil sample look like? Again, how is it different from the other ones? And then the after, let your cup sit for 10 minutes, record your observation. This is your after observation. So you guys are going to do an after 10 minutes as well. Okay, here's your guys' data table. This is obviously for sample A. Whoops. Okay, so you guys will see here's your before, your during, and your after. Notice that under each of those, there's this little link that says watch me. Those are going to be your guys' videos. Again, since you're doing this at home, you guys don't have the soil in front of you. This is your guys' way of watching the samples or kind of doing this lab at home. So you guys will right click, open that link, and then a video will pop up. So you guys will hear me talk about soil sample A before. So this is going to be your guys' before observation. You guys can kind of see what it looks like from far away. Okay, I'm also going to try to get you a zoomed in version as best as possible without making it super blurry. Okay, that's just not working. We'll just look like that. So you guys can do your before observation. Okay, so you guys will watch all 3 of those videos and you guys will write your observations. So there's your before. Okay, then you would right click and open your link for your during. Again, this is right after you've added 2 pipettes of warm water. And you guys will take your observations right after that happens. All right, so this is your, okay, and then same thing for your after. Okay, then after doing sample A, you're going to say, all right, based on what you observed before, during, and after for sample A, do you think that sample A contains any living organisms? Okay, so you guys will use the draw tool to circle yes or no. You guys had a little bit of practice with the draw tool in our back to school assignment. Okay, you guys want to pick a color that you can actually see, so don't choose black because I won't be able to see that. Okay, and then you'll highlight either yes or no. Okay, remember that anytime you guys use the draw tool, it's really important that you click back on the cursor. Otherwise, you won't be able to click anywhere and type. Okay, that happens a lot to students, and I'll probably tell at least every one of you that once. Okay, so what evidence from your observations can you use to support your claim? Again, make sure you click back on your cursor before you type. Then you guys should be able to click right there. Answer your question. Okay, notice that your answer is in a different color. I want it that way, so don't change the font or the color. Okay, it stands out to me. So right next to where you say answer, you're just going to click and type. Okay, so look back at your observations and your before, during, and after, and tell me what things did you observe in there, or what evidence do you see from your observations that kind of support whether you think there are living organisms in sample A. You're going to do the same thing for sample B, before, during, and after. Here's your guys' videos. Okay, and then do you think that there's any living organisms? Circle yes or no. What evidence did you guys see to support whether you think there's living organisms in sample B or no living organisms? So what evidence do you have of that? And finally, you'll do the same thing for sample C, There are your 3 videos. Okay, yes or no, any living organisms or no living organisms, and what evidence do you have? Okay, that's part 2. Okay, if you guys would like, you guys can go ahead and pause this video, complete part 1, or you guys can just go ahead, listen to the instructions for the rest of the assignment, part 2 and part 3, and then we'll go ahead and move forward. So if you want, go ahead, take a second, pause, finish up part 1, and we'll move on to part 2. Okay, part 2 is called The Martian in the Car. So you have a little story about Marty the Martian here. So Marty the Martian was sent to Earth by the Martian government to find life. While on Earth, Marty captured a car and brought it back to Mars. He thought he'd found a good example of life on Earth. The Martian government does not believe that the car Marty brought back is alive. Marty must stand trial for failing to perform his Martian duties. At the trial, Marty spoke in his defense. I first saw these life forms rolling around the roads in great numbers. They were giving off thick clouds of poisonous waste as they moved. They seemed to exhibit herding behavior as many of the cars moved in the same direction. They appeared to have a great deal of energy. Some of them moved faster than 60 kilometers per hour. When some of these life forms stopped or slowed down, the others behind it responded. So basically, if one car stops, the one behind it stopped too. They slowed down and gave off a reddish light from the back, and sometimes they would make honking noises. I observed that they would stop to feed on a liquid substance. Take the part of Marty's defense attorney and make a good case for the car being alive. Then be the prosecutor and show that the car is a non-living thing. List as many reasons as you can. So Marty gave some good reasons as to why he thought they were. So why do you guys think that the car could be living based on what Marty observed? And why do you think that the car is non-living? Obviously, you guys know as Earthlings that the car is non-living. But what is the difference? Okay, how do we know that that car is non-living? Okay, that's part 2. Then when you guys are ready, you can move on to part 3. Again, if you'd like to pause this video, go finish part 2. You're more than welcome to do that. On this one, you guys do need 5 reasons for each. Okay, so fill out this data table. Okay, go ahead and pause if you want. If not, we'll just move on to part 3. Drawing conclusions. Okay, I'm going to start by saying do not Google these. Okay, I don't want to know what the internet knows. I want to know what you know, and I'm going to give you the right answer. So I just want to test to see how well you guys do, and I know you guys can do this. So there are 7 criteria that we use to determine whether an object is living or not. In order to be considered a living organism, the organism must meet 7 criteria. Okay, and it's got to meet all 7 of those criteria. If at any point it does not meet even one of those criteria, it is either considered as non-living, or maybe it was something that was living and now died because it failed to meet one of those criteria. Okay, so I want you guys to think about what 7 things we can use to determine if an object is living or not. Okay, and think in mind that again, they have to meet all 7 of these things. So I want you guys to list 7 basically reasons as to why something might be considered living, okay, or criteria. Okay, again, don't Google these. I don't want to know what the internet knows. I want to know what you know, and I'm going to give you the right answer, okay? So I just want you guys to kind of do this as a little brainstorm activity. Again, it's okay if you're wrong, okay? We're going to learn the right answer, okay? So go ahead and complete that. Once you guys are done, you guys can go ahead and hand in this lab. Make sure you guys let your answers save, so don't exit out of it right away. Let your guys' 7 criteria save before you hand in. And then I hope you guys are having a great day. Let me know if you have any questions. Bye.